So this morning, everybody, welcome. Today, I am sharing the 3 ways toxins impact tic disorders and how it is just one of the puzzle pieces when it comes to tic disorders. So welcome everybody live. Welcome to everybody watching the replay. I am glad you are here. If you are watching the replay, of course, #replay. But before I get started with all the good stuff, let me introduce myself. Welcome to all the new members. I know there are a lot of new people here every week. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Piper Gibson, and I am a mama who has been in your shoes. So I am a doctor of advanced holistic nutrition. I am a traditional naturopathic doctor, and I am board certified in natural medicine. I'm also a board certified micronutrient specialist, and I am a genomics specialist as well. I have a long list of certifications, and I went back to school to relearn everything I thought I knew about health and wellness when my son was diagnosed with a transient neurological tic 10 years ago. He's 16 now. But I have been in your shoes, and I help scared, frustrated, overwhelmed parents get access to the tools, testing, and education they need in order to start reducing their child's tic disorder symptoms naturally. So I am sharing the 3 ways toxins impact tic disorders and how it's just one of the pieces of the puzzle. You're going to hear me say this time and time again. When it comes to tic disorders, there is not one piece of the puzzle. There are multiple pieces of the puzzle. So if you have a puzzle, a 1,000-piece puzzle, and you spread it out on your coffee table and you pick up one piece, you can't look at it and say, oh my gosh, it's a picture of a rooster. You are looking at this one piece and you're thinking, what is this? So then you have to start putting all of those pieces of the puzzle together. And what I really stress for parents is there are multiple pieces to the tic disorder puzzle. And it's not just tic disorders, but a lot of the families I'm working with have a laundry list of symptoms. So they have, anxiety, OCD, SPD, ASD. They have, mood swings and meltdowns. So when we are looking at tic disorders, we have to understand that there are multiple pieces of the puzzle. So today we're talking about one piece of the puzzle. Last week we talked about gut-brain connection. That was another piece of the puzzle. There's an older video you can go to where we talk about gluten. That is another piece of the puzzle. So there are multiple pieces of the puzzle that we're going to talk about. But today we're talking about toxins. How many of you know what toxins are and you are aware of the toxins in and around your home? Are you aware of the toxins in and around your home? Comment yes. Let me know yes if you are aware of the toxins in and around your home. Yes. I was not. I will tell you, I had no idea, no clue about toxins until my son got sick. None, zero. And it's been a learning experience, and I learn more and more every single day because learning is my hobby. But comment yes if you are aware of the toxins in and around your home. I would love to know, what kind of experience you have with toxins, if any. All right, Kirk says yes, as of last week from your report. Yes, so the Sparks family is a family that I'm working with, and yes, I overwhelmed them last week. But yes, we now know about toxins, right, Kirk? So we're going to break it down for you a little bit more today. So toxicity is classified into 2 types, depending upon the duration of the toxins. Kat says maybe she's familiar with mold. Heather says yes, cleaning products, personal care, laundry, the list goes on. Yes, friend, the list goes on. So toxicity is classified in 2 types, depending upon the duration of exposure for the toxin. So one is acute toxicity, which develops rather quickly after short-term brief exposure to a toxic substance. This is really how they talk about toxic substances or toxins in general, is you have to remember that the dose does not always make the poison. So when we are studying toxins, we are looking at this acute reaction. We're not looking at the long-term, low-level exposure to toxins. So chronic toxicity, which develops over a prolonged period after long, extensive exposure to offending substances. So there's a couple of ways that we are looking at toxins. You also have to know that there's, about 86,000 chemicals on the market. And when we are looking at those, most of those have been grandfathered in and never tested on human beings, which to me is scary a little bit. But, there are different forms of toxins. Not all toxins are created equal. So the word toxin actually comes from nature. So think about poison frog, toxin. When it comes to a chemical, it's really referred to as a toxicant. However, for this purpose, we are talking about toxins as a broad kind of umbrella. But just know that really toxins we're looking at, you get a poisonous mushroom, you get your poisonous frog, there's your toxin. But if it's from a chemical, it's really called a toxicant. But as we roll on, a toxin is a harmful substance that can occur naturally or synthetically. And when toxins are naturally occurring, those are the ones produced by living cells and organisms. Those natural toxins are not harmful to the organism themselves, but they can be harmful to the creatures, including the humans around them. When I'm talking about toxins, it's really more about the toxicant piece. We're looking more at that chemical exposure or biological exposure, which would be something like mold. So we'll talk about those as well. But natural toxins usually produced by the organism, that's their line of defense. Plants that produce toxins are produced against predators. You don't want to come eat that. But when we're looking at those toxicants, we're looking looking at what is in our environment. So how do toxins enter the body? Lots of ways toxins can enter the body: breathing, drinking, eating, simply walking outside, simple everyday activities like putting on your body care. Women are exposed to over 250 toxins just getting ready in the morning. It's staggering. You spend 20 minutes doing your hair and your makeup, putting on your lotion, using your soap and your shampoo, over 250 toxins if you are not aware of the products that you are using and putting on your body. Same goes for teenage girls or teenage boys who are using, deodorant and Axe body spray. So we're exposed to toxins everywhere. The clothes we wear, the gyms that we go to, the schools that we go to, the cosmetics we're putting on, everywhere. And it's really kind of a scary thought to look at what kind of toxins are in and around our environment. However, that can be a big issue for kids that have tic disorders because their bodies are already in a state of fight or flight. We are going to dig into fight or flight really, really deeply next week on TikTok Tuesday. But, toxins, again, one piece of the puzzle, can really be triggering for kids with tic disorders. But kids with tics can be exposed to toxins from pollutants in the air, wildfires, car exhaust, cleaning products in your home, air fresheners, scented candles, scented laundry detergent, dryer sheets, even secondhand smoke. And of course, there's other potent toxins in your home. Your furniture is covered with flame retardants that are definitely toxic. When we're not drinking clean water, maybe we're drinking well water, we live near a highway or an industrial area that releases chemical fumes, dry cleaners, pesticides, especially. I will tell you, one of the biggest things that I see with the children I work with is huge high levels of pesticide exposure and glyphosate exposure. So herbicide, pesticide. Tics can also be caused by mercury fillings, high levels of aluminum. Aluminum can be found in some vaccines, but really one of the places that we are using aluminum every single day is putting it on our antiperspirant, especially stinky teenage boys. So you have to be aware of the things that you are putting on your body. Here's what's really kind of scary is that kids today are born toxic. There's a great study out of Canada that looks at the umbilical cord blood of newborns, and every single one of them tested was toxic. They had toxic chemicals already in their bloodstream when they're born. So what does that tell you? It tells you that we are really, really, really living in a toxic soup. This is the most toxic time period in history. And honestly, I tell parents all the time, I don't know if you could move to a cave and boil your own water if you would still escape all of the toxins. I'm going to say probably not, since our rivers and our streams and everything are polluted. Hey, Courtney, welcome. Melinda, Amy, welcome everybody that is watching. Okay, so we want to talk about how the 3 ways toxins impact tics. So we've talked about what are toxins? There's this acute exposure, there's this chronic exposure, but how are they really impacting our kids? Yes, we're using the word tics here, but it really impacts everybody and every kind of symptom, issue, anything you're having. So when it comes to toxins, we can look at chronic inflammation. So it's really turning on and damaging those cell membranes. So we talked about inflammation pretty much in depth, I don't know, every time we're on this video, but it's really your body's immune system being turned on. So these toxins, they don't belong there, and your immune system, hey, those don't belong there. But what happens is toxins are very damaging to the cell membrane. So healthy cells are vital for the messages that pass throughout the body and the substances that move in and out of our cells. So, when we're looking up at our cells, they make up every, organ, tissue, system in our body. They are the messengers telling our bodies what to do. So we don't want a bunch of toxins that are damaging our cell membranes. So toxins damage the cell membranes and hinder normal signaling processes and the way that the substances move. So this leads to problems such as messages from your hormones like insulin not being passed, leading to elevated blood sugar, or even more of these chronic conditions because our cells are being damaged by these toxins. So that's really one way. If you are in a body that doesn't have healthy cells, you are going to start to have symptoms. Just know that tics are boil over symptoms. Put that pot onto boil, and we put the lid on it, and we go down the counter, and we start chopping our onions, and we put our carrots, and we get sidetracked. Mom, I need a snack. Mom, the dog made a mess, whatever. You get sidetracked. You come back. That pot has boiled over. It's the same thing with tics. You can't see what's happening inside until they boil over. And so if you are living in a body with damaged cells, you are more likely to have symptoms. And symptoms are going to be present differently in everybody. So mom, it might be an autoimmune issue for you, and your child, it might be a tic disorder. So we have to look at the fact that toxins are very, very damaging to the cell membrane, number one. Two, they can lead to autoimmune conditions because of that immune inflammation. So when we're looking at the fact that we have this cell damage, we have all of this inflammation, our immune system is turned on. Autoimmune issues really are part of this chronic inflammation. Do I think that tic disorders are part of an autoimmune issue? I do. That is definitely the way I see it. Their immune systems are turned on, and we're not looking at why. So there's three theories on how toxins contribute to the development of autoimmune disease. The first is that toxins damage the cells in your body so that your immune system no longer recognizes it and then attacks those cells. Really, with autoimmune diseases, what's happening is that you are killing more cells than you are making. Also, toxins can stimulate an immune response, causing that chronic inflammation and overwhelming the immune system. Your immune system is always turned on, so anything is going to set it off. And then, of course, toxins damage the thymus, which regulates the immune system and produces cells that differentiate your own tissues from invaders. So really looking at, how they are impacting our health as far as autoimmune diseases go. So Amy says, I'm very cautious of toxins in my home, but I knew something had to be triggering my son's tics after many tics. He was celiac, gluten-free. Awesome. It is. Amy, that is awesome. We truly do live in a toxic soup. So number 3 is that toxins can damage the vital organs in the body by leading to malfunction, poor health, and eventually all of these disease conditions. Organ damage. So this is really kind of scary because you have to think about all of the organs in your body, your liver, your intestines, your brain. So this chronic inflammation turns on the microglial cells in your brain. Your microglial cells in your brain are your immune system in your brain. So if you are having this chronic exposure to toxins all of the time, and it's just one of the things that's impacting your child's health, it can be one of those things that's really impactful for tic disorders. It's just one. I will tell you, out of all the clients that I've worked with, it is multiple factors when we're dealing with tics. It is not just one. So this is why I say it's definitely pieces of the puzzle. So those 3 ways is, 1, toxins are damaging your cell membranes. They're leading to that chronic inflammation and autoimmune issues. And then they're damaging our organs. So they really are very impactful for our health. So symptoms of toxic overload, are you ready? This is going to sound like one of those drug commercials you see on TV. Anxiety, tics, ADHD, SPD, OCD, bloating, brain fog, craving for carbohydrates or sugar, decreased energy levels, digestive distress, disorientation, eczema, exhaustion, feeling spacey or sluggish, impaired sleep, inability to concentrate and focus, joint aches and pains, memory difficulties, bad skin, zits and pimples, puffiness, being stressed, trouble losing weight, and water retention. Those are just a few of the symptoms of toxins being, toxic. But what I want you to know is that not all toxins are created equal. So as we're looking at toxins, you have to know you've got those chemical toxicants, you've got fungal toxins. So those are called mycotoxins. So when you are exposed to mold, those mold spores create something called mycotoxins inside your body. You have fungal toxins. Candida produces fungal toxins. You have those environmental toxicants. You have heavy metals, which is considered an environmental toxin. And then, if you didn't know this, here you go. You have endotoxins. What are endotoxins? Endotoxins are the toxins that are being made inside your body by the imbalanced bacteria in your gut. Yes, I see lots and lots of kids who struggle with toxicity from the things that are going on in their gut. We talked about gut-brain connection last week, right? We talked all about it. But those imbalances in the gut create toxins that we have a really hard time detoxifying, especially if we have constipation, especially if we're constipated and we do not have enough of the nutrients to detoxify in the liver. So you have to consider that not all toxins are created equal. We think, so many environmental toxins, but we have to think about, do we have mold in our home, in our schools? Are we being exposed to the heavy metals? What the heck's going on in our gut? What are those endotoxins being produced inside of our bodies? So, as we talk about that, the biggest question is test. We want to know, like, how do we know that our kids are really impacted by toxins? How do we know this? Like, I had somebody ask, what do you think about TRS? Well, do you know, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, that your child has toxins in their body? If you know that, then you know that, hey, TRS might be a good thing for you. But if you have a child who doesn't have enough nutrients to detoxify, and then you start putting in TRS, it could actually make things worse, not better. Toxins are really not the first thing that you should start to detoxify. If you have a whole bunch of other stuff like gut imbalances and leaky gut going on, you should actually make sure that you're doing all of these other steps first. So, when I'm looking at these random internet remedies and suggestions, like, I would never recommend that my clients use TRS as the first thing to use, because we don't know, one, if it truly is toxins without testing, and two, we don't know that it's what that child really needs. So when it comes to that, our big thing is we want to test, not guess. You have to know what's going on under the hood. You have to know, is there really toxins, and what toxins are there? Because when we're talking about detoxifying, we have to know what those toxins are in the body. Are they fungal? Are they myco? Are they environmental? Are they heavy metals? Are they endotoxins? What are those toxins, so that we know how to get rid of them? The internet will tell you, oh, everybody has heavy metals. Do you know how often I see heavy metals? Not very often. There are tons of other toxins that need to be detoxified first. Absolutely. I rarely see heavy metals. Once in a great while. Aluminum, usually, from deodorant. But when it comes to that, this is why I created the comprehensive neuroimmune analysis, because this is where we are going to look at what is going on inside your body. It's going to give us those 935 different biomarkers to know exactly what's going on inside your child's body, so that we can then start to use my foundational connection method to connect all of those results with their health history, with their symptoms, and with all of the biomarkers that we've looked at. So we can finally get to that third step, which is that restorative rescue method and strategy, where we are going to have those long-term and short-term goals to know exactly what's going on inside your body, so that you guys can have this plan to get your child back on track to start reducing tic disorder symptoms. So for those of you that are new, I hope this was very informational for you. If you're not new, I hope it was informational for you.